All right, Alpha fam, let's do a quick market update. Before we begin, I do want to say that nothing in these videos are financial advice. Everything's for educational purposes only. This is just my own analysis on the market. Also, if you're new to this channel, if you can please like, comment, and subscribe, we really do appreciate all of this support. Let's get into the market, guys. So, we are in an interesting place, and we've been talking about this for a little while now. This week, I'm kind of wish we could fast forward through it. Tomorrow's FOMC, all right? With the FOMC, I think that has a lot of people kind of sitting on edge. Everybody's kind of wondering what Jerome Powell's going to say, what's going to happen. We tend to de-risk into these events, and we talked about it yesterday. I do think we're in our accumulation range, and what I'm waiting for right now is, are we going to actually complete the spring, which is this deviation outside of the trading range, all right? Or are they not going to be able to complete the spring because we're actually doing one of these type of Wyckoffs, which is where I think we're coming in. And I showed you guys this yesterday, guys. So again, there's two schematics that the institutions use to make decisions and to look for entries and just all around manipulate markets in these general ways, because that's how the institutions develop charts, guys. It's just what they do. All right. So with that, and looking at Bitcoin right now, and trying to get an idea if Bitcoin is going to actually complete that, or is it already come down and made a local low. I think everybody's kind of trying to make a determination whether that is. We can say one thing for sure. If Bitcoin does decide to make a spring, all right, I think that this would be probably the level that it would come into, which would be this general zone right here, all right? This is if it could break below this $80,000 level, all right? This would be the next zone that I would be looking for. And then again, guys, if it happened like that, it would be, again, this is going to happen pretty fast. I expect it to come down, swing down, hit that liquidity, and immediately soak it up and immediately bounce. And when we bounce, we'll probably bounce pretty aggressive, come back down to a retest, and then start the next uptrend. All right? And then you can see that right here. Once we do that test, all right, after we complete that spring, this is a couple of things. One, it's definitely going to be confirming that we're going to start the markup. And again, it's never 100%. You know, I've seen these accumulation ranges expand for a while, but it is a good indication that we're getting ready to leave this accumulation range and actually start the new uptrend. This is where smart money institutions will be buying, guys. They are going to, I think, try to use these macro headwinds to try to scare panic as many retail participants as possible and trying to liquidate as much leverage as possible to allow this to happen so these institutions can continue to accumulate while they're keeping the attention on everything else. It's almost like this has been done systematically for crypto, guys, especially when crypto's had such a good couple of years prior, and like now it's just like it was the worst performing asset class of 2025. And you guys have to understand, in the last 10 years, crypto has still outperformed everything by like a significant margin, guys. It's still the fastest horse in the race just because it's had a bad year. And I think that, again, I think it's been done by design to try to shake out as many people as possible. This is a technology. It's the number one emerging asset class. And it's like it's almost being left behind with everything else. And it makes you wonder, like, why? You know what I mean? Again, it is also a risk asset, guys. You know, this is still considered a risk asset. And you're seeing like this crazy run up on metals and these crazy run ups on gold and like silver. Eventually, guys, these things are going to have a blow off top and people are going to be looking for what's next. And honestly, the only thing that makes logical sense is crypto. It's literally the only thing that hasn't had a chance to run yet. We're also in the middle of quantitative easing, guys. So this is just you have to decide, and well, really for the market makers to decide, what are they going to do? Are they going to let us and break this 80,000? Is this the local low? Is this actually going to hold? Or are they going to try to bring it down just a little bit further, sweep the liquidity one final time before allowing it to happen? That's what I think everybody's waiting for. Tomorrow's going to be a very important day for the market. Depending on how Jerome Powell comes out, if he's dovish, if he's hawkish, the dot plot, what the report says, all of these things are going to be very important for participants to make a decision whether they want to take on more risk or if they want to continue going risk off. All right. I think regardless, I think this transition that we're in right now over the course of probably like the next couple of weeks will kind of play itself out. And then once it plays itself out and it's kind of finished, then I think we'll start moving up. I think once we get out of January and actually start February and get some traction, I think that's when we should be able to finally leave this and start a new uptrend. And you guys can look at these, okay, for instance, this one right here, this one lasted, this was like 42 days that we were in this zone. And you can see how long we've been in this zone right here. 69, 70 days. We've been in this zone for a while now, guys. All right. Over 2 months. All right. It's just about time for us to get out of here. All right. And if we're not going to get out of here yet, then it's time for us to come down and complete that spring and then finally leave. All right. Again, which direction they want to go, I don't think it really matters. I think it's still, in the grand scheme of things, going to result in the same thing. It's just how many people are going to be smart enough to understand what's going on, stay stoic, or are they going to allow the market makers and institutions to trick them out of their bags? Because that's essentially what they're trying to do. They want everybody's crypto. I think, honestly, guys, and I'm going to be making a video about this, every bank is going to adopt a network. Everybody's going to be using crypto, even the haters. Even if the CEO from Coinbase just said it the other day. Even if you hate crypto, you're still going to use it. You're just not going to know it. It's going to be literally the financial rail system for everything. All right, everything is being upgraded and putting on blockchain. It's simply a better technology than the current financial system, guys. Period. All right. Without going into too far of a tangent, again, we're going to be making a video on this. Let's take a look at some of the other markets. Something that's interesting to me is we have NASDAQ. It's had this resistance level right here that it's never really been able to break above. Like, you could even maybe cue it right here where it had this little bit of a deviation, but it was never really able to break above this level. And then even if you do it right here, it has now broken above it. All right. That's interesting because we're extremely correlated to the NASDAQ. And this is now finally starting to get a chance to run. All right. We talked about the Russell 2000 the other day and how the Russell 2000s, continuously making new all-time highs, which is kind of like the meme coins of the stock market. It's all the really low cap stuff. Something else that's super interesting, guys, that I don't see nobody really talking about is the Dixie. The Dixie is literally on a free fall right now, guys. Like, if you come over in the 4 hour, it's on a free fall. When Trump was in office last time, if you come over here and you look at 17, what did Trump do when he came into office? He broke the Dixie down and got it as low as 88. All right. I think he's doing the same playbook now. All right. And the reason why this is important is because you want a weaker dollar, because then it takes more dollars to buy assets. All right. When the purchasing power of the dollar is weaker, it takes more dollars to purchase things, including assets. So you should see, as the Dixie drops, your assets repricing higher. This is actually a good thing for risk on assets. All right, guys. With that also, guys, I really hope that this thing is going to be making some type of top soon. You can see it starting to break down. All right, and you can see, look, I want to show you guys the direct decorrelation between these two. Look at Bitcoin going up, and then you've seen silver going down. All right, like gold, Bitcoin, they're like literally inverse correlated, guys. And honestly, it's all FOMO at this point, I think, for metals. I think at first, like some of the, some of the different headwinds that were out there as far as politically and, like the war FUDs and all these different type of things that have been kind of going around, the tariff wars or the trade wars and the tariff stuff. So like I kind of understood. It's also a debasement play because the dollar is, obviously losing its value. I just showed you the Dixie. So it's also a debasement play. But I think at this point, it's more FOMO than anything else. And honestly, both of them are showing me blow off top type of signals. Not saying that they're top for the cycle, but what I mean is like a local top. So like, for instance, when you come over here to gold, you can see it makes these local tops and then kind of ranged for a while. And then during this range, this allows things like crypto to catch a bid. You can actually see when this thing made a local top in April last year, April, May was when crypto actually had a bit of an expansion. So you can actually see during that time, during March, April, May, these things were going up. Crypto was going up, You could even see with Bitcoin. Bitcoin was going up. This is when gold stalled during that period of time. All right. So gold wasn't obviously going up. It wasn't going down. It was just kind of stalling and just chopping sideways. And then that gave a little bit of chance for crypto to have a chance to breathe and run. All right. I think that's what we need to see happen here, guys. And I think we will. I think this trade is going to start unraveling soon. I'm not saying that gold's not going to, I think gold will continue to go up pretty much forever because it's just a precious metal and there's, it's a limited resource, different things in it. But I think what's happened is just a lot of FOMO has just really taken over both of these asset classes at this point, and I think we'll finally start seeing some of this rotate down. So I know right now everybody's kind of on edge, waiting for the FOMC. There's also this government shutdown loom that is kind of coming around, which is another reason I think gold and precious metals have had such a opportunity to run. We don't want the government shutdown to happen. Last time it wasn't negative in the beginning, but then it ended up becoming negative because the liquidity conditions dried up. We don't want to see that happen, guys. We want to see these guys make some type of agreement and then keep it moving. All right. We don't want to see this shutdown happen. Best case scenario this week, guys, Jerome Powell comes out very dovish. Inflation's pretty low. It seems like the unemployment rates, it was going up, but it's kind of started to stop going up and started to drop a little bit. So this is kind of a sweet spot for them. They don't really need to make a decision on rate cuts, but what we want them to see is that they have a lot of confidence in the market. GDP just blew out expectations, so they should come out relatively dovish. As long as they don't come out saying anything crazy, the market should absorb that and then keep on moving. If they don't shut down the government, all right, and I'm giving you guys the best case scenario, and they don't shut down the government, all right, then crypto should be able to get some chance to be able to expand a bit because you're taking away a bit of the macro FUD off of the table. We also had a Trump tweet yesterday talking about India and raising tariffs on them. We really need the tariff trade war stuff to kind of die down soon, and I think it does, guys. I don't think Trump can continue to push this too much longer because he can't ruin the markets prior to midterms. Midterms are very, very important for Trump, all right? With all that being said, guys, we're waiting for the U.S. market to open. Should be opening here. Probably just opened up just a couple of seconds ago. With that being said, guys, watching things very closely. If this is your first time ever finding any of my content, my name's Coach JM. I've been a digital asset investor for going on 5 years now. I am also an expert inside of Capital Club, where I host all the Crypto Talk workshops. And I'm the founder of Alpha Syndicate. And if you are trying to learn this type of stuff, if you want to really learn macro, if you want to learn fundamentals, technical analysis, understand and know the projects that we're investing in, if you want to be able to network with a group of entrepreneurs, click the link below, guys. We'll see you inside.